It is 2026 and Ebby and Cleo the Adventure Cats have so many adventures planned for this year. We are planning on doing even more this year, so let's see what they've been up to in the first month. We started off with a visit to Longbarrow. This is an old burial place which is thousands of years old, and you can actually go inside it. It was a bit windy this day, but it was nice and shaded from the wind inside, and Cleo was definitely very interested in going and checking the place out. Ebby, of course, wanted to climb. Ebby loves climbing. He is always up for climbing anything. And the dogs came along too, because it's always best when they're all together. On the way back down, Ebby and Cleo got a ride in the backpack, and Cleo wanted cuddles halfway. I think she was a bit chilly in the wind and was trying to steal my body heat, whereas Dora was strutting along. She's got so confident. It being a bit chilly, we decided the best way to warm up would be a little pub lunch, and of course you have to bring toys along for the kids. So I got these lovely cosmic catnip toys to keep the cats entertained whilst we had our really yummy dinner. But of course the cats and dogs needed a little treat as well, so they all had some licky treats to keep them going. We then headed round the other stone circles in the area. This is Avesbury, which is a really lovely little town which is actually built inside a stone circle, which is so cool. And Ebby and Cleo had some fun in the Devil's Chair. It being still a bit cold and windy, Ebby wanted to have a mixture of riding in the backpack and climbing, whereas Dora was still a hyperactive little puppy. Someone really needs to tell her she's too loud. She needs to grow up. And all round, this was just a beautiful little town in a really interesting place with an amazing history. And I definitely think Ebby enjoyed being carried around everywhere. Despite the wind, the rain and the mud, we did also get out for some lovely walks. Well, I did most of the walking, whereas Ebby wanted to ride in the backpack a lot. But that is fair enough. Having an adventure cat isn't necessarily about them getting out for exercise, it's about getting them out for stimulation, which he gets lots of when he's in the backpack as well, because he gets a great view of everything. But after a while, Cleo did want to get out and have a slow little walk, but she definitely took her time and did things in her own way. I really need to find out if they do shoes for Sphynx cats, because her little paws must be cold on the ground. But we are so lucky to have so many beautiful places near us. Next up, we headed out to some local lakes, where we thought it might be a bit less windy as it's more shaded by trees here. This time Ebby decided he wanted to ride on the shoulders. He really does his own thing, this cat does. Cleo once again had a little stroll around. You very much have to let a cat go wherever they want to when you're walking them. They kind of walk you. But once we got more inside the wooded area, even Ebby wanted to get out and have a little wander. He definitely led the way. There is no telling Ebby what to do. Ebby does what Ebby wants. I think if you want to walk a cat, you have to accept it's not like walking a dog. You don't walk them, you basically follow them and keep them safe whilst they explore, whilst they sniff, whilst they do what they want to do. Another must of adventure cats is treats. It's great to stop and have some treats. We love licky treats as these also give great hydration, and Ebby adores these. We always have so many of these in our backpack. Ebby would not be impressed if I forgot these on any adventure. They are also a great way to distract any adventure cats if needed, or just to get them to hurry up a little bit. We then continued our walk with the cats in the backpack. At least when they're in the backpack we can walk a bit quicker. Ebby is definitely the more inquisitive of the two. Even when he's in the backpack, he's always got his head out, being super nosy, and this is the kind of thing he sees. Cleo is in there too, hiding behind her big brother Ebby. And then we just stopped and chilled for a little bit. And we watched the ducks on the lake. One thing that having adventure cats has taught me is just to take it slow and enjoy the little moments and really enjoy the beauty of our place. And then we even met some swans. I think Ebby was less sure of the swans than the ducks, but I guess that's fair enough because they are a lot bigger than him, and Cleo was definitely hiding behind her brother here. She was a little nervous, but they both did so well, and the swans did not seem bothered at all. We then headed out for a little cycle ride. This is something we're trying to get the cats used to, so we only went for a little time, but they definitely loved it because they could see everything going on without any form of exercise for them, which, you know, is win-win. Then to warm up, we stopped and had a lovely little coffee. Well, I had the coffee, whereas the cats had their little pup cup, which is really just cream. And they want to know why this is named after dogs and not cats. Well, you know, cats got the cream. But we did stop and enjoy a few minutes in the coffee shop. And because Ebby's not so keen on the cream, we also had a licky treat, which Cleo also helped him out with. I think licky treats is one of Ebby's favourite parts of going out on adventures. This is another thing I love about having adventure cats. It gets you out and makes you do stuff you wouldn't normally do. I would not normally go to a coffee shop on my own, but when I've got the cats, I think it's fantastic. So they definitely give me a lot of confidence and they get me out there doing stuff, so it is fantastic. And they finished off by having a little grooming session. Cleo has to make sure her man is nice and clean when he's out in public. We then had our first trip to the beach this year. We are also really lucky to live near the beach. We love the coast. And this is a lovely little secluded one where you only really get dog walkers and stuff, so we often have the place to ourselves at this time of the year, which means the cats can kind of just wander wherever they want. Obviously, I'm always keeping an eye out, but it's lovely to let them lead the way a bit. But for some reason this time, Cleo just wants to hide underneath a boat. I don't know what was under there that was fascinating her so much, but she was really happy under here. But we couldn't stay there the whole time. So we did move on to explore the rest of the beach. Ebby was very intrigued by this old boat full of water. I was a bit worried he was going to try to jump in or something, but luckily he didn't. And then, of course, as per usual, we had to stop for a snack. I love how differently they eat snacks. We did then just chill for a little bit and enjoy the view. And I've got to say, Ebby looks so handsome here. It was just the perfect lighting and he just looks super stunning. Cleo looks cute too, of course. And it is just so beautiful down here. And of course, we needed another snack. Ebby was definitely chomping his way through the street. He is such a messy boy when he eats. He then wanted to ride on the shoulders, so he could be super nosy whilst we walked along. And we had a little strut along the pier. It was starting to get a little damp by this point, but I don't think Cleo minded. She was really strutting her stuff. She is definitely gaining confidence as an adventure cat, and in some ways it's becoming a bit more active than Ebby. Ebby's definitely the nosier of the two, but he has kind of figured out he gets the best view from the backpack. So he often likes to be up there where he can see everything. Whereas Cleo's quite happy just taking her time strolling along. We then headed up onto the beautiful heath. This is actually just above the beach and it is so beautiful up here. And they have these lovely sculptures. Ebby once again wanted to ride in the backpack. He is definitely more of a fair weather adventurer, but that's okay. As I said, most of what I like about taking the cats out is getting their stimulation up, and he gets all that from the backpack, so whatever makes Eddie happy. Plus, you can't really make a cat do anything they don't want to do. We then found another sculpture, which was super cute. And it is such a lovely day. It is nice that it is not raining for once, because it has been a little miserable recently. We are definitely going to try and make the most out of any decent weather we get this year and just get out and about. Although, of course, we will have to make sure the cats are well wrapped up when need be. I honestly think these guys have a bigger wardrobe than I do at this point. But, you know, you can never have enough outfits, so that's okay. We found another sculpture, and Cleo in particularly liked this one. I think she got rather attached to it until she fell off. It is tricky being an adventure cat sometimes, and I think she was a bit embarrassed and wanted to hide back in the backpack with Ebby. And it was definitely a good job they were in the backpack, because there were some really big puddles here, and I think the cats would have got rather in a mess, and their paws would have definitely got wet. I think at this point Cleo was hiding in the backpack, away from the wind. Then we found the final sculpture, which was this really cool sand lizard, although Ebby wasn't too impressed. As a special treat on the way home, I thought I would take the cats through their first drive-thru. Now, just to clarify, Cleo is only on my lap in the drive-thru. Normally she is not allowed on my lap whilst driving. So we put our order in and then joined the queue of cars. I don't think Ebby was too impressed by having to wait. He is a special cat and he deserves special treatment. But as the rest of the world hasn't realised that yet, we just queued up and waited. And of course I had to pay because the cats weren't offering. Then as we waited, Cleo had some cuddles. She loves fuss, this girl does. Whereas Ebby just impatiently waited in his bag. Then it was time to get our food, and Cleo was very inquisitive. She is a proper little foodie, this girl, so I think she could smell it all. So we parked up to eat our food. Now obviously McDonald's is not good for cats, but everyone has to try a bit of McDonald's fries once in their life, so we did let Cleo have a little tiny bit, which she definitely enjoyed. Ebby's not so much of a foodie, so he missed out on this one. Our next adventure was a train ride, and we thought the dog should come with us, as this was Dora's first train ride, and I think she was okay with it. Ebby, on the other hand, is quite a seasoned traveller. He is very used to trains, so he made himself right at home. He likes to have his own seat, so he can be nosy and see everything that's going on. Cleo, on the other hand, just wants little snuggles, and I think she actually fell quite soundly asleep. These two cats are both so different. Ebby is definitely the more inquisitive out of the two and is into everything. Cleo is a bit more of a chilled girl. And of course we had to have snacks, because you know what I say, always have to have snacks for your adventure cats. Ebby once again was doing his chomp chomps, whereas Cleo did her nice gentle lick licks. This always gets so messy. I really must find a better way of feeding these two, where I don't get covered in cat treat. They might like it, but I'm not so keen. Ebby then decided to sit underneath the seats for whatever reason. Maybe he thought he could see more under here and could get a view of the whole carriage. Then unfortunately things did not go quite to plan. We had been heading out to the forest, but unfortunately we got stopped. There was an incident on the line which meant the trains weren't running, which was a bit frustrating, so we had to get off not long after getting the train. I do not think Ebby was impressed at this, and as nothing was running, we decided to head out the station. Ebby definitely wondering what is going on here, and instead had to get a bus back. I think this was the first time of Ebby on a bus, and he definitely didn't enjoy the shakiness of the bus. This was a particularly shaky bus, which did not impress the Ebby. Cleo, on the other hand, was fast asleep in her bag, so she was not fussed. So of course, to make Ebby happy, we had to have even more snacks. If in doubt, give him a snack. Dylan, on the other hand, was nice and chill. He's an old boy, not much phases him. He was happy as long as he had a comfy seat. Ebby was a bit happier when I let him have the window seat and he could watch out the window, and his nosy little boy. And Cleo was just sound asleep in the bag. So not our most successful adventure, but the cats don't seem to mind too much. It was then time to head out on another walk. As I said, we are trying to get out as much as possible at the moment and really get the cats back into having adventures. We've not been out so much the last few months and I feel like they need to get out some more. And for once, Cleo wanted to ride on the shoulders. She doesn't often ride on the shoulder, she's normally in the bag or walking along, but it was nice that she wanted to be up here. And as I walked along, we saw this big pile of logs, which probably don't look interesting to us, but Ebby saw it straight away, and he loves climbing these things. So of course we had to stop so he could have a little climb and have a little nose about. He is a very particular cat who knows what he likes, and climbing is one of those things. Whereas Cleo was just happy to sit and chill and have a little nosy around. Then time to walk on, and both cats wanted to be on the shoulder for a bit before both deciding to go back in the bag. It's definitely more comfortable having them both in the bag rather than both on the shoulders, but whatever suits them. Eventually, Ebby was showing that he wanted a bit of time out, so I set the bag down to see whether he wanted to jump out or not. And then of course he couldn't make up his mind what he wanted. But it was lovely out here and we did have the whole place to ourselves, so there was no stress and no rush today. And eventually Ebby decided he did want to have a little stroll around. He was not the fastest going here. He wanted to sniff at everything. If you are interested in taking your cat out, it is really important to just let them do things at their own pace. You can't really prompt a cat like you can with a dog. It is very much just taking their lead and following them around as needed. You're there to keep an eye on them and to keep them safe, not to lead the way. They are definitely the bosses when you're on an adventure. Then we stopped for a little bit and Cleo got out to have a little look around. It was a random place to stop, but this is where the cats wanted to stop, so you know what I say, they're the boss. Then Ebby decided he wanted to go back in the backpack. He makes himself very clear on what he wants. Although he's not always the most graceful getting in and out. Cleo, on the other hand, was quite happy out and about. And of course, Cleo being Cleo, you can't get through an adventure without her having her business. Ebby barely ever does his business outside, but Cleo, even though she is meant to be the lady of the two, will do her business anywhere. We then had a little walk along, Ebby in the bag, looking rather cool, hanging out with his paw out, and Cleo having a little cuddle before having a bit more of a wander along. And then another little cuddle. I don't think either cat could make up their minds today whether they wanted to walk, ride or cuddle. We then found another pile of logs, which of course Ebby had to climb. And of course you can't go on an adventure without snacks. And we thought this was a good place to have a snack, which I think both cats enjoyed. They can be good at sharing when they want to. Cleo then sat and chilled for a bit, where of course Ebby wanted to do as much climbing as he could, and I think he had aims of getting right to the top of the log pile. He was quite determined, however it always makes me a bit nervous when he goes above my height, so we did try and hold him back slightly and try and convince him to stay lower. But it is quite hard to tell Ebby no. He is one determined little boy. But he does look very cute when he's climbing. We headed for another little stroll, and both cats were in the bag for a while before Cleo got out and walked again. They really couldn't make up their mind this time. But we don't mind that. The cats are the boss. Plus, although exercise isn't our main aim of our adventures, it is good for them to stretch their paws a little bit. Even if it is a bit slow going at times. But who minds taking their time when you're in such a beautiful place? This was one of our first time using extending leads. We normally use a fixed lead, but the cats have been doing so well with their leads and the harnesses, we thought we would try some extending ones just to give them a bit more freedom in some circumstances. But we always have short leads with us if needed. Eventually Cleo had enough of walking and went up on the shoulders again. This is quite unlike her to want to go on shoulders. Hopefully it shows that she's getting more confident, or she's just copying her brother. Who knows, as long as the Cleo is happy. Then of course, as soon as Cleo wanted up, Ebby wanted down, and he wanted his turn walking along. They very rarely both walk at the same time. One always seems to want to walk when the other wants to be in the bag, or vice versa. Whatever suits. Ebby was definitely a lot more slow going on this time, but I think whereas Cleo was just chill walking along, Ebby wanted to know everything going on around him. Hence why he had to constantly stop and check everything out. Whereas Cleo was just quite happy doing her thing. And soon enough, we were back at the car park and it was time to head home, but we have all really enjoyed our walk. Then, what better way to finish this month's adventure with a trip to a local coffee shop with another pup cup for Cleo. These are only occasional treats, but she does love them so much, and she deserves them after doing so well on all her adventures. Do let us know if you've got any idea for future adventures from us, or anything you'd like to see. Also, any particular videos you'd like, or any training tips, let me know what you want to see on Abby and Cleo's channel. We are hoping to grow a lot more this year, so do help us out. Hit that subscribe button, drop us a comment, drop us a like. It really helps Abby and Cleo, and it will make them very happy. But I better get down to editing this video, even though Abby and Cleo are so distracting. So we hope to see you on adventures in the future. And as I said, please hit that subscribe button. After all, who can resist these two adorable cats?